So how does one go about becoming a knight in Westeros? If you wanted to be a hedge knight like Sir Duncan the Tall, do you have to get somebody to knight you, or can you just say you are? Funnily enough, this is the dilemma that Dunk actually faces, and we're going to see it in A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, the newest Game of Thrones spin-off. I keep saying this, I want everybody to tune in. January 18th. It'll be the 19th here in the UK for us. So the long story short is there's a bit of ambiguity about whether Dunk is really a knight. In the book, we join the story as Dunk is burying Sir Arlen of Pennytree, who was his mentor. Sir Arlen himself was a hedge knight and had served in many noble houses. When Dunk turns up at the tourney at Ashford Meadow, he is informed, yeah, this is a competition exclusively for Knights of the Realm. When Plummer, the steward, asks Dunk, are you a knight? Dunk nodded, wondering if his ears were red. Sounds like a fib to me. A knight with a name, mayhaps, he's asked. Dunk, he says. Why had he said that? Sir Duncan the Tall. And where might you be from, Sir Duncan the Tall? And he replies, every place. He says, I was squire to Sir Arlen of Pennytree since I was 5 or 6. This is his shield. Now that is true. Dunk had been with Sir Arlen since he was a kid. And for those who don't know, Dunk does not come from a noble house. He is literally a member of the small folk. He comes from Flea Bottom. In the hopes of convincing the steward to let him participate in the tourney, Dunk says, he was coming to the tourney, Sir Arlen, but he caught a chill and died, so I came in his stead. He knighted me before he passed with his own sword. But the steward is like, I've never heard of Sir Arlen. I've never heard of you. Dunk says that Sir Arlen, when he was dying, called for his longsword and bade me kneel. He touched me once on my right shoulder and once on my left and said some words. And when I got up, he said I was a knight. Now, Plummer doesn't really believe him, and he says, well, any knight can make a knight. It is true. Any person, whether you are small folk, whether you are highborn, you can qualify to be a knight, but you don't automatically just become one. He says it's more customary to stand a vigil and be anointed by a septon before taking your knight's vows. And he asks, were there any witnesses to what you're claiming Sir Arlen did? And Dunk says, only a robin up in a thorn tree. He says, Sir Arlen charged me to be a good knight and true, to obey the 7 gods, defend the weak and innocent, serve my lord faithfully, and defend the realm with all my might. And I swore that I would. Plummer, he's not convinced, and he notably doesn't call Dunk by the title Sir. And he would have done if he believed Dunk's story straight away. He asks Dunk, can you provide some evidence, somebody to vouch for you, someone to back up this claim? And Dunk thinks, well, Sir Arlen did serve House Dondarrion. I think I saw their flag outside. And so his plan is to go and seek out Sir Manfred Dondarrion to see if he will vouch for Dunk. A little while later, Dunk is looking out at the tourney grounds and he's thinking about all of these knights, these famous knights of Westerosi legend. People like Prince Aemon the Dragon Knight, Sir Ryam Redwine. They were great heroes, brave men of noble birth, Dunk thinks to himself. And what am I, Dunk of Flea Bottom, or Sir Duncan the Tall? So to cut a long story short, I don't think Dunk was actually knighted by Sir Arlen. I think he would have done that in time. It all kind of comes down to a technicality and can you back up what you're saying? And the idea of what it means to be a knight, it's kind of getting lost in the mud, because although there is a process that you have to go through, you can't just suddenly declare yourself a knight of the realm. But what if you fulfill the criteria of what makes a good knight? It's just you've not been officially dubbed. Does that mean you're not a knight? And does it mean that regardless of your behaviour, if you haven't been officially dubbed, it doesn't count? This is kind of the heart of Sir Duncan the Tall's story. It's that you don't need to be from a noble house, you don't need to be wealthy, you don't need to be, part of the upper crust of Westerosi society. You can still be a good person and a good honourable knight. You may not officially have the title, but it's kind of like a what is in a name kind of thing. Like, a rose by any other name still smells as sweet, and Dunk does match the criteria for being a knight. It's just he's not been formally knighted.